Welcome to Turn Extension, a supplemental podcast for the Advanced Maneuvers YouTube channel.
Hey everybody, welcome to another episode of Turn Extension. My name is Tony, or Polar Bear Cub on the forums.
Hey everybody, it's Cutthroat Cure, Devon in real life.
Hey, so it's actually just the two of us. Gaston had a tree fall down in his backyard, so he can't come. Justin, who's been our normal guest, having a late night at work. And Kevin just went through surgery yesterday. So
there's a big, let's get whatever hopes in Iron Kingdom prayers that we can, that he heals quick and speedily, and then that way that we can get back to putting out more awesome battle reports.
Yes. Hopefully everything works well. The surgery, they said, did go really well. His wife was keeping us up to date. So hopefully from there he gets better in the next couple months, and then we'll get some battle reports out with some brand new Crucible Guard in there. It's gonna be awesome. Cannot wait. That's actually what I'm painting right now, Big Alice.
And I'm actually building Big Alice right now.
Which, side note, that model was pretty nice, I thought. I think the detail is really good.
It's fantastic. I'll be honest. So, fun story. I wasn't going to play Crucible Guard. When I left for Lock and Load, Crucible Guard was not on my radar. Not even a little bit.
I know, because we talked about Crucible Guard, and you were so uninterested in everything.
Yeah. I'll be honest with you. I just had no interest in it. It was just like, okay, Crucible Guard, they seem cool. Like, they have a cool concept, a cool idea. But, I'm a troll guy, and I've got other factions, so why would I start something that I'm not, like, goo-goo over,
Mm-hmm.
And I was actually sitting with Pagani and, chilling and talking to him as, I do. And I was actually going over his models earlier in the weekend. We were actually at Mox's, and we were just talking about the models. And they were cool, and I was like, oh, that's cool. And he was showing me, like, the Trancers and everything else. So as we're sitting there, I look when we got to actual Lock and Load, we're sitting there hanging out, and I look back at his thing again, and here's this big hulking mass of a model. And I'm like, what is that? And he goes, oh, that's Alice. And I'm like, who's Alice? And he goes, oh, that was the Warcaster attachment that we had kind of shown concept art for, where she changes. And I said, oh my God, I remember us discussing that. I never actually saw the physical model because, I didn't stick with a lot of the Crucible Guard stuff. He said, yeah, give it a look. So I got to look at her small version, and I got to look at the big version. And I'll be honest, right at that moment, I was like, I'm going to do Crucible Guard, even if it's just buy Alice and go from there. So I actually went into the store, ended up buying Alice, and I was just super excited about it. So I could definitely say that Will Pagani and Alice actually is what sold me on Crucible Guard.
That is awesome. I'm so excited. Finally have a freaking faction buddy with this group. I never get faction buddies. So damn happy. And I'm excited too, because I think the army itself seems really fun. I really love the models. The detail I've seen, at least from Big Alice and Little Alice alone, is making me so damn excited, where I'm actually painting models again. Like, I feel like I've been painting tons of models, and you've been actually helping me walk through how to increase my painting capabilities.
Yeah, and you're doing fantastic. And for anybody who's curious, definitely check out our Facebook and stuff, because we're going to be posting some of Tony's updated work and stuff as we knock out this faction. So, and it's definitely quite the journey. He's definitely made a lot of improvements.
Yeah, I'm excited. It's been a lot of improvements in this short time. So, but anyways, so you just came back from Lock and Load. So a lot of this episode is going to be dedicated to kind of how Lock and Load was, everything you did leading up to, from Mock's boarding house to those releases and Infernals. What the crap? That's awesome.
I know. So it was insane.
So kind of lead us through it, man. Like, what did you do?
So I actually get in. So as anybody who may have listened to the Lock and Load episode that we did last year, I have always made it a goal to try and get into Seattle/Bellevue on Wednesday, because Thursday has always been the invitational for PGs. Mm-hmm. And this was the first year that the invitational was not run.
Which is sad.
Huh?
It's sad. It really is the end of an era, officially.
It really was. The 15th the 15-year anniversary was the first year that the Invitational did not run for Lock and Load. So that, it is what it is. We've all talked about our feelings about what had happened and what it meant to be a PG and what the community is like with no PGs.
Yep.
And can I say it's better? I don't know. But I will definitely say that it felt weird. But I still got up there on Wednesday because it just always makes it easier for me. And, I get to do a little bit of hanging out and sightseeing and just touring and getting to chill with people before the hubbub of the convention starts. Mm-hmm. So I spent one of my dear friends, Adam Pricer, who's a local, he actually flew up with me, and we immediately grabbed an Uber, a Lyft. We grabbed a Lyft from the airport, and we went to Mox's, and we just hung out at Mox's almost all night and just chilled. And I actually played 6 games.
That day?
Yeah.
Jesus, man, that's a lot of games in one day for after, in a 5.5-hour flight?
Phew. I mean, we got there. Well, maybe, was it that day? No, it was not that day. Sorry. It was not Wednesday. We got there.
Okay.
Adam played a game. I hung out. I talked to some people. Thursday, I played 6 games.
Ah, okay.
So I played 6 games Thursday. We literally got there when it opened, and we just started getting the games in. And it was kind of cool because I had my Kogrima list there, and I'm not a super, competitive player anymore. But I've been trying to, upon talking to some of my friends like Tim Banky, who's really kicking ass with his trolls. I've been taking little pointers and talking to them and having some pretty deep discussions about how the faction's going. So having a list, aka Kogrima, that a lot of the factions were seeing as a boogeyman, it was really cool because a lot of people would come up and I would just say, hey, what do you want to play? And they would say, hey, do you mind playing your Kogrima list? I need to get some reps into Kogrima, or I've never played Kogrima before. And out of my 6 games, I won 5.
That's awesome.
Yep.
That's really good because, 1, it gets you practice with the list, and 2, you're helping other people out so they get practice against the list, and you get to play freaking 6 games. That's amazing.
Yep. I was quite tired. I got a really bad headache. I played Adam, and I realized why Borka 2 is just so devastating in the Nemo 3.
Yeah?
Oh, my God. It was... you should ask Adam sometime. He still might have a little bit of PTSD from that match. It was rough.
Oh, God.
No, it was real rough. And then he learned how good Fen Blades were. 20, and then when he found out they were 20 points, 20.1 unit of Fen Blades with the UA, okay? So 20 points if you're not getting the UA for free, which I do. Mm-hmm. I think I do. I'm pretty sure I do. Regardless, 20 points, even with the UA. 8, both of his units of murder horses.
Jesus.
With Haley, too.
Because they're 18 or 20 points. I think they're 18 points each.
20. I thought they were 20 points each.
It's been a while since I've looked at them. Either way, that's 2 cav units. That's ridiculous.
Yep. Just basically with the stone, they were able to lock him up. I put Hero's Tragedy on him. So basically he couldn't just kill my guys and then, basically take off, because as soon as he finished his activation, then he was knocked down for killing a warrior model.
Oh, that's pretty awesome.
So I was like locking his guys down. He didn't want to get too close or too far to the middle of the board because I had the bomber there. And the bomber was just like, just sniper accuracy with those bombs. So he had to basically deal with this 20-point unit he was killing one, then I would vengeance, and I would probably either hurt or destroy one, and then I would activate my stone, and then basically, between if I could kill one, then I cleaved into another one.
Gosh.
So, yeah, they had a lot of more threat than he anticipated, and it just it made it really rough. He made a few mistakes, like with his hunter and stuff, and he didn't realize just how fast the Earthborn was. But all in all, it was a good game. But I played 6 games, so I was really tired. I slept real well. Friday, we got in there. I can definitely say that I was kind of iffy about the new location.
Uh-huh.
So the new location is literally right beside the hotel that we stayed at.
Really?
When we went.
Okay,
Yes.
I know which one you're talking about. It was like across the street, a huge-looking hotel.
Yep, that's where they're at.
Wow, okay, so they still stayed in downtown Bellevue, which food options means it's super limited. At least I felt the last time I went it was. But nice area.
So there was a restaurant in the actual hotel.
Ooh, that's awesome.
And people, of course would, grab a lift, and it had a shuttle like the Sheridan did. So instead of so that was kind of good. And I mean, everybody was like lifting to some place. And I mean, it was easily about 10 blocks to get to, like the area where there was a ton of food,
Yeah.
So that was that. So we all got to hang out. I was, as I said, iffy at first because as soon as you get up there, you're like, okay, what's everything going to be? The tournament area was set up much nicer. It wasn't as like huge, spacious, like where you could basically fit like 3 people between tables.
Okay, good. So they made it tighter, which saves space.
It does. And so basically the first room you would walk into would be the actual tournament room, where they also did the keynote. And then the next room, right beside it, physically, you would basically walk down the hallways and walk into the next little tiny room, and that was the full store. And then the full store actually emptied out into the tournament room.
Nice. So you could pretty much go into the store, buy your stuff, and then go right into your tournament afterwards.
Yes.
If you so choose. That's not bad.
Which is what everybody did with Kane Zero.
Exactly.
Everybody got in line and then immediately came out and then went over their table to play their Kane Zero.
So,
which I was actually second in line.
Which is crazy that you're able to get second in line.
Well, my really good friend Joshua, I'm going to butcher his last name, but I'm going to try Konstanich. My good friend Josh, he was there and he knew that I needed to do it. So, he kept me a space right there, reserved me a space. He actually let me get into the store first. I was the first one into the store. I was the first one to buy a Kane Zero. I was the first one to buy a Vulcan. And by a Vulcan, I mean 7 Vulcans.
You got 7 Vulcans?
I bought 7 Vulcans.
I see, and I thought I was so special that you were buying me a Vulcan and maybe yourself one. I didn't realize you got. I didn't think they would let you get 7 Vulcans.
Neither did I, but I took them up there and they let me purchase them, so I can't argue it.
Wow, that's not bad.
Yeah, so I bought. So basically, what happened is a bunch of people were talking, and I knew they were, so I just told them. They were talking about how limited the Vulcans were. And this was kind of fear, and nobody knew exactly how many Vulcans. They said, we got Kane Zeros for days. We got Crucible Guard for days. We got Army Boxes for days. We got very limited Vulcans.
Right.
Because the Vulcan, I'm pretty sure, does not come out until is not
October
set
at the
to be coming
earliest.
until October at the earliest.
Yeah,
correct.
October at the absolute earliest when that thing will come out.
So it's one of those things that people were really eyeing it. So I wanted to make sure that all of my friends and stuff and people that I knew were able to get one, whether they were back home like you or they were at the convention. So I actually walk out of the store and I just start walking over to these tables after we watched the keynote and handing out Vulcans because I just had so many. But the keynote, I watched the keynote and at first, so back to basically the location. So the second floor was dedicated to Iron Arena.
That's pretty awesome.
So it also was very, like the first day, you could not find an Iron Arena table.
It was that packed?
Oh my gosh. The overfill room was packed. The regular room was packed. They actually ended up opening 2 or 3 rows after they finished the Masters and Champions tournament the first day down in the tournament hall for people to play downstairs.
So let me pause really quick on that. So did you think there was more people than the previous years, or you think it was just the space made it too packed?
I honestly couldn't tell you.
Wow, that's good. That's a good feeling.
So I will definitely say with the smaller space, it felt fuller.
Okay.
But I don't have any actual numbers, so I really couldn't tell you either way. But it was definitely cool because you would get in there, and of course you're getting that old con feel where there's that as soon as you walk in for registration, there's this massive line,
Which is
and
pretty awesome.
yeah, and so everybody's like standing in the line, and then they kind of let everybody know, hey, if you already have your badge, you don't have to stand in this line. So then people were actually standing in the hallways, like excited to get into the store, excited to get in for the keynote. And then the third floor was actually the restaurant of the hotel and the main lobby. And then they had the P3 painting, Hobby Lounge, and Iron Kingdom RPG stuff up there.
Which is cool. I really wish you would have announced more stuff for that, but that's a different story.
For what?
For the IKRPG. Wish I would have seen more stuff. I like it.
Yeah, no, it's solid. But the cool part is that the P3 studio, which for the last few years has been held in a ballroom, which was very, you're really expecting to get some really good light from above you, right?
Yep.
It was held in a side sunroom that overlooked like a small pond and like a pool.
What?
So you had nothing but natural light the entire weekend.
That is awesome.
Yeah, it was fantastic. It was a really good experience. So when it comes to the new location, I absolutely loved the placement of the store. I loved the placement of the tournaments, the placement of the Iron Arena. Everybody loved being able to basically go up to the room, drop their stuff off, come back down. You didn't have to walk 10 blocks. You didn't have to basically plan for the next, 15 hours of everything you were going to do and everything you might need.
Yep.
So those were all super good things. Some funny things were if you were not attending Lock and Load and you walked into the main lobby where you would check in,
Mm-hmm.
there was a giant, 6.5 foot Asphyxious statue, old metal Asphyxious statue.
Hold on.
Staring.
They brought out that Asphyxious. That's amazing. I've never seen that in person.
For the 15th year anniversary, yes, they brought out that old boy.
Oh, that's awesome.
But there was no signage that told you it was Lock and Load. So when you would walk in the main lobby to check in, here's the check-in desk, and right there in the middle of everything is a giant steel, hellish-looking Asphyxious.
Oh, that had to have been classic for just random. Did you see a lot of people that clearly weren't here for the con being there?
Oh yeah, no, there was a beauty pageant there, which was funny.
God.
Yeah, no, there was a bunch of stuff that was happening in other parts of the hotel, or were staying at the hotel, so that was kind of cool. So things I didn't like. The only thing about the hotel that I really didn't like was that they were super stringent on alcohol.
Really?
And if they caught you drinking not alcohol that was not provided by the hotel,
Mm-hmm.
they would literally ask you to leave the convention, and that was the hotel.
Would you be allowed to sneak back in or what?
I don't know because I didn't do it, but and I don't drink, but
Oh yeah.
It got to a point, it definitely felt like this is real serious,
Damn. Okay.
Which coming from the Nova scene, we're used to everybody just drinking until late wee hours in the morning, so
Yep.
It didn't really bother me so much. The only other part was, and this was completely out of their control, and I know for a fact that they did everything they could to fix it, but the Iron Arena soon became the Iron Sauna, and for some reason it would get into the 80s, 80-some degrees. And people were sweating buckets. You could walk near the door of where the big room of the Iron Arena was, and it was so hot that you could feel it from 10 feet away, it emanating heat. And people were literally just not even playing Iron Arena. They were going into, the overflow room or playing downstairs because anything was better than playing in the Iron Sauna. And the only sucky part about that was that's where all the scenario tables were and all the really nice display tables.
Oh my God. That's rough.
Yeah, so as I said, they did everything they could to fix that, and that really was on the hotel.
Yeah.
Because they were asking them to crank it, but still, it doesn't change the fact that it was hot as you can't believe in that room.
And there's got to be tons of people in there. So, it's just
Oh
going to
yeah.
be it's a
Well,
lot of body heat going in there.
it had the same sunset, like it was on the same side of the building as the hobby room up above it. So it had all those natural sunlight, but it was coming through these black paned windows, and I'm pretty sure that was just heating the room.
God, that's rough.
Yeah, so it was pretty crazy. That part was kind of rough, and that was about, as I said, those are really the only things I didn't like. Other than that, that part was fantastic. I can definitely say that the community this year at Lock and Load was some of the best I've ever seen at a Lock and Load, and we're talking.
It's because Crucible Guard was coming out, clearly.
Well, in general, just the community, like people just being polite and kind, and everybody wanting to hang out, and you really like. Adam being a first year and me being a fourth year, like Adam sat there and he just met so many people, and you would just walk and you would just be like hanging out with people. I know we went to one restaurant one night. We went to a dumpling place with Pagani and Hungerford, and it was like me and Patrick, who is our second time winning Iron Gauntlet winner, and Aaron, who actually played against him in the final round, and we had my friend Monty and a ton of people. Literally we just jam-packed this dumpling place with like 12 of us, and you couldn't go anywhere without seeing groups of like 10 to 12 people just hanging out, having a good time.
That's awesome.
And yeah, and
that's a really good feeling.
And I feel I didn't have that at the old location.
And I'd agree with you. Like, so my thing is, Hannah, where I've only been to the one time, and it was the Mark III was coming out, and I want to go back because of talking to you about this. It really makes me want to go back because like I enjoyed it, but it wasn't in my mind. Hey, I did this. I didn't think I was ever going to go back again.
Out of the 4 years I've gone, out of the 4 years I've gone, that was the worst year.
That sucks because that was the 1 year I went.
Yeah, if I had to, and I was actually rating it today to Michael Ireland, who was just asking me, with it being his first time going, he said, where would you place this? And I said, honestly, this year I would place first for almost everything. The keynote I felt was not everything I wanted it to be. Like there were some things, like my personal taste in things I didn't really like. There's things I understand, like I understand that we're going for more, that like Grimkin small video feel like they did last year with the Infernals. The year before that. But then I also brought up that we got to see one of the first Crucible Guard models last year during the 12 Days of Christmas, and that was really exciting. And then it just comes down to a production thing. It takes a lot of people. There's a lot of people who work on a lot of different things and a lot of different factions. So, coming out with material for all of them, plus introducing all of the theme lists and everything else, it can be a little bit hard from what I understand.
Yeah.
I am absolutely, I can't even begin to tell you how excited I am for Monster Apocalypse.
I'm surprised by that because I didn't think you would be that excited.
I did not play Monster Apocalypse when it first came out years and years and years ago, but the more and more I have seen the miniatures, the more and more I have learned about the game, and I am just like really excited about it. Like Company of Iron, I thought, okay, this seems cool, right?
Yeah, I was more excited about Company of Iron, and then I didn't play it at all.
Yeah, I tried Company of Iron, and it's one of those things, like there was a lot of Company of Iron being played at Lock and Load, like everyone.
That's awesome.
Yeah, but I personally I am more excited for Monster Apocalypse and the miniatures and everything and just like how it works than I am anything. And I haven't even gotten the demo it yet, so I'm really excited for that. Getting to see the starter sets was cool. Riot Quest, it seems interesting. I do have it on good authority that some of the miniatures that are coming out for Riot Quest that have not been shown are some of the best that the production, some of the coolest and most like character, that has the most character miniatures they've ever seen. Like, they're just having fun with, a lot of the characters.
Huh, that's interesting. That makes it more exciting.
Yeah, we've already seen Boom Howler with a Gatling gun,
which is very cool.
Yeah, so I mean, as I said, the video, while I understand it was a play to like Archer, I did not personally find it very enjoyable. But I mean, that was the keynote, and the keynote was what it was. It definitely wasn't the worst keynote I've seen, and it definitely wasn't the best keynote I've seen. So
yeah, it definitely wasn't the Mark III keynote.
Correct. Amen to that. So, which seems to be the feeling across the board is like, it wasn't the Mark III keynote.
Yeah.
So, other than that, like, watching the tournaments were run extremely smooth. And, my hat's off to Travis Marg and the rest of the Privateer Press crew who ran those because they were very smooth. I was really impressed by how they ran Iron Gauntlet. I was very impressed by the new Iron Gauntlet trophy, which was an actual Iron Gauntlet.
That thing
which
looked
I did get.
Freaking amazing.
It was. And I sent you the picture where I got to wear it.
Yep. Yeah,
so getting to wear it was really cool, and it fit and it moved. It was like, it was legitimate. It was so cool, and it had a big, emblazoned Iron Gauntlet symbol on the back. They added cameras for the actual dice trays,
which I loved. Loved that so much.
Yes, and that was something that was suggested to them by players, and they added that, and it was just kick ass. Now, I didn't get to hear the commentary because I was physically sitting there at the table watching it. So I can't really speak to the grade of the commentary, but I can only assume with people like Pagani and Hungerford and such being the ones to actually do the commentary that it was probably quite fantastic.
I think it was a lot. So I only got to listen to a little bit of it halfway through the final, and I enjoyed it. I thought it was significantly better. It was cool because, like, with Pagani, he likes to say, hey, this is what I think needs to happen in order for him to win. And I think these couple of things need to do, and this is what I would do in a situation. And it was cool seeing how it would play out afterwards.
Yeah, so that was really cool. Yeah, and how they set that up was really cool. You never actually ever saw them recording. Like, there was a black screen up, and they were behind the black screen, and you knew they were behind the black screen. And if you got over near the black screen, you could hear them. But for the most part, you didn't really see any overage noise, so it was just, it seemed really legit.
Shout out to Tony. Tony does a great job with that.
Tony did a fantastic job, and a huge shout out to both Hungerford and Will Schwick for doing like the keynotes of the games, not only the keynote for the whole convention, but they were also, while they would watch the recorded games, they would actually say things that were happening into a mic so that the commentators could see it or hear it. And then because they were on a delay, so they could actually get their thoughts together to talk about what they were going to do. So it was like, one would be like, the bomber decides to charge the blankety blank. So then, since they were on a delay, so there wasn't any collusion or anything like that, they could be 100% prepared that when it happened, they knew what they needed to say. And I felt like that really made it smooth.
That's awesome. I wonder how much practice they had to do beforehand so that they could practice that out, say, hey, this is coming into me, I can think my thoughts, and as I'm saying something else, I can start preparing for it.
Who knows? But they did a fantastic job.
That's awesome.
The P3 painting Grandmaster painting competition was absolutely fantastic.
Did you put a model in?
I did, and I actually my goal this year, my entire goal for this entire year was actually to enter a model or a piece into the P3 painting competition, and I wanted to get bronze. Because I've gotten nothing one year. I got the Artisan Award another year. I got Master Craftsman the one year.
Yeah.
For my army. So
the last Master Craftsman, I might add.
The last Master Craftsman for hardcore. So this year, I went in there, and I put in what I considered was at the time my best piece. and still a little dated. I wasn't able to finish the piece that I wanted to enter, but I decided, hey, I'm going to get this piece done and get it entered, and I did, and I took bronze.
That's awesome.
I did. I was very happy. I took bronze in the single model category, and a huge shout out to Steve Hall. And for anybody who knows him, his child single model piece was fantastic. He took Grandmaster. It was, watching him grow as a painter has been amazing. And, to see him come in with this piece and go like, that piece has a shot. And then at the end of it, see him actually awarded for his hard work was just absolutely glorious. And, huge kudos to Steve Hall. Also to Todd McNeil, who actually won 2 best in categories for unit and large models. So that was cool.
That's amazing.
Yeah. So Iron Painter was good this year. I participated in that, and basically they take the top 3, to compete against Dallas, and I placed 4th.
Oh man.
This is the second year that has happened where I placed 4th. But, yep. I'm just not a speed painter, and it's the Tyson and Todd and Eric Swinson. The 3 of them were the first, second, and third place. Not in any order, but they went up there and they were able to participate in that, and had a blast and did a lot of crazy stuff, and they just really had fun. And in the end, Todd McNeil ended up winning. They all are winners, but he ended up having the model that was chosen, and it was a lot of fun. It was really good for them.
That's amazing. That's really cool. Congratulations to them. Oh, I think we lost Devon.
I'm still here.
Oh, okay, cool.
But yeah, so other than that, as I said, all of that was done pretty quickly. And the Iron Painter is pretty cool. They give you a model that, there's usually like 1 or 2 alternate versions, and you're given a half an hour with a timer, and you have to paint the whole model to completion in half an hour.
That's not a lot of time.
No. So like last year was like a little Rulic dwarf, and this year was a Mechanothrall.
Okay. Wasn't this before where they used to bring out a new model? Like, wasn't that where they did Borka 2 one year?
I don't think so. They might have. I know last year they did the new sculpts for the Wrestler and the Ironback Spitter.
Okay.
And then this year they did the Defender X for Monster Apocalypse.
Okay, that's pretty cool.
And Todd was able to win the Crucible Guard Army box.
That's pretty nice. That's a pretty good. I hope he plays it.
Hopefully.
Oh man. So what else happened then? Any other big fun moments you had really at Lock and Load?
I had a blast. I want a huge shout out to Kat Roya, Michael Ireland, and Tim Banky for walking basically 15 blocks with me in our journey to get ice cream. It was both sweet and painful at the same time. And I'm definitely throwing out some signs for my Ben and Jerry's buddies because we had a blast. It's crazy because Lock and Load, I could probably, and this includes Nova, I could probably skip every other convention I go to, and I would probably go to Lock and Load every single year if possible.
Wow, that's pretty huge considering Nova, that's our home con. That's your con.
Yeah, that's, it's a con I put a lot of work into, but there was so many experiences that involved the convention as well as experiences that didn't involve the convention. So, we went out to Dumplings, as I had mentioned earlier, and then after it, a bunch of us, we went out and we went bowling. Mm-hmm. And Pagani has really gotten into bowling. That's been like his new pastime hobby. And together, he was actually able to beat his highest score ever. So his highest score was a 177. He was able to hit a 191. And it was just like that support of, we're not actually playing with little, toy soldiers anymore, but we're still like super supportive and we're laughing.
Yeah.
Huge shout out to Chris Wedding and Andrew Holmes from Sweden. Both of them are just amazing people. I had a blast. Andre was just a ton of fun to be around, and we just had a blast, and we just hung out and some really good conversations. A huge shout out to all of the people who came from my home meta, Anthony Gibbs, Adam Pricer, Jonathan Leclerc. All of them, really went hard in the tournament scene and the games, and they got some really cool prize support, and they had fun, and that was just great. And, met a lot of people. And it's just like, it's so crazy. Huge shout out to all of my Canadian friends and Eric Swinson from the Cut crew. Getting to hang out with the painters who have, won Grandmaster before and just, are just an absolute library of information is fantastic. So getting to go out for like food and just chill and just, we went to Lunchbox and we just would sit there and talk about like design concepts and ideas we had. And, if there is something, if you love this game or you love this hobby for this company when it comes to Privateer Press, Lock and Load is literally the premier event to go to, because it doesn't matter what aspect of the game you enjoy or the hobby, you're going to find something there. I literally love every part of it. Whether it's the hobby or whether it's the games or whether it's the tournament scene or whether it's the competition or whether it's just the people or just getting to see the models. Like going into the hobby room and immediately seeing people spend hours there just working together to build somebody's Crucible Guard army so they can play it the first day
is pretty awesome.
Yeah, the guy who actually won the first Crucible Guard army at Lock and Load, at Mox's when they did the raffle, that individual, he actually went and him and his buddies got together that exact night, and they put the entire box together so that when Crucible Guard released, his stuff was already on the table and ready to play.
God, that is awesome. Because after that release, he would honestly, if he had the one box, he could drop the Trancer, put a Vulcan in, and he'd have a 75-point army. Or he could grab some other stuff to get the 75-point army up. That's amazing.
Yeah, and I mean, last year, I know I'm rambling, but last year, Jaden and Tyson and a bunch of other people, we sat down. Jaden bought 2 75-point lists worth, knew what his lists were, and that's what he wanted. And they released Friday right after the keynote, and he played with 2 75-point lists in the tournaments on Saturday.
That is so awesome. Oh, man. I wish people would have done it. I don't think anyone did it for Crucible Guard, did they? Play in any tournaments?
Yeah.
They did?
I don't know if Jay Larson played in the tournament, but I do know that all day Friday he was playing with Will Pagani's Crucible Guard, and I can tell you that maybe he may not have played it. They didn't play it Friday. I didn't spend a lot of time. I'll be completely honest with you. Both Masters and Champions started at 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock.
That's actually a decent amount of time afterwards. So, because keynote was at 9. And if they started at 11...
It was a little bit after 9. Okay. And then the store was jam-packed.
Yep.
So unless you were the 2 people who got the army box the night before at Mox's, you had to start fresh. You had to get through the line. You had to get your boxes. I was the first one through the line with boxes.
Oh, that's great.
And none of the boxes I bought got built. So...
That's a shame.
But Saturday... there was probably every row of tables, probably 2 tables that had a full 75-point army of Crucible Guard they were playing.
That's awesome. That makes me feel really good. That makes me happy about the army. It means that people really like it. I think it's a great army. Obviously, I'm building it. You think it's a great army because you're starting to put it together.
Yeah, this is actually, and I will say this, and good job to Privateer Press. I'm super excited for Infernals. Like, I'm super excited for Infernals.
They're
So
going to be awesome.
unless they completely disappoint me with the curator and everybody else, I definitely see myself picking them up at Lock and Load 2019. Mm-hmm. But Crucible Guard is the first faction where I bought it at Lock and Load, which, most of the time you can pick them up second, you can pick up a faction secondhand or trade something you own, maybe someone didn't like the faction, whatever. And I've always been that kind of person. I have a family, I have a son, own a house, but it's like, income is not always the strongest thing. So I'm very diligent. I mean, with as many conventions as people see me go to in a year, I would not be able to afford to do that if I just bought every shiny model I liked brand new right off the shelves.
Right.
So you have to be a little bit frugal. But Crucible Guard, I just went in, and I'm excited. And as I said, I am working on building Alice, and I'm hoping to start getting some paint on her. And, basically I'm going to take it slow, but it's the first time I've stepped away officially from Trolls to paint other models for this game that were not for them.
And that's why when you and I were talking about it before, I didn't realize you even owned other models. So the fact that you own other models and I've never seen them with you, but you're getting into Crucible Guard like this, that is amazing. That's a pretty big testament to what is going on with like this army and just the visual concepts of it and even how the play is. I'm excited.
100%.
So excited.
I'll be honest with you. I don't know what half the shit does. Like, I'll be honest with you. I physically cannot tell you right now, and I apologize to any of our listeners who are just like, damn it, Devin. I cannot tell you what basically anything in the entire army does, minus rocket men fly and shoot guns. The big, giant hammer dudes kill things when they get into melee, and the Vulcan has a rust bomb.
Yeah, he has the rust thing, yep.
Yep, that's all I know. And that Alice becomes a hulking mass. That's just a fantastic model on both sides.
Oh my god. I don't know how I feel about that, I'm not going to lie.
Yeah, it's awesome.
That's crazy. That's just whatever. It's a great model. Everything is great in it. I'm excited. I'm excited to see you get more of the stuff on the table. I'm excited whenever you actually get stuff on the table in the future, whenever that might be.
Well, as I said, right now, I just finished up with Lock and Load, which, as you know, I actually, upon leaving Seattle, I left Seattle. So Lock and Load ended at 4 o'clock on Sunday, Western Coast time. Mm-hmm. And I caught a plane Monday night at 10:40. I touched down in Dulles Airport in Virginia at 6:30 in the morning.
Yep.
I was picked up by our dear and fellow channel member Solus, mm-hmm. who dropped me off at my car, and I then drove to work where I got to work on time and worked an entire day. So physically the longest commute I've ever done. Yeah,
that's just ridiculous. That's literally insane, is what I told you before when you did it, because I didn't realize you were doing it to that level.
Exactly. So for me, right now has been really about spending time with my son and my wife, who both missed me since I was gone for 6 days. Mm-hmm. And, getting to just kind of, my basement is still, my studio / basement is an absolute wreck. So I've been trying to get that fixed back up.
Which, good luck with that.
And yeah, well, no, it's pretty rough right now. But, when you're planning for a convention and you're grabbing stuff, you're not always focusing on everything being clean. And so my focus right now is, I'm going to build Alice. It'll probably be the only model I build right now. Mm-hmm. I am going to just play around with some colors. I have some stuff I want to do for Nova, with Nova being my official last convention for the year that I actually like do stuff for.
Mm-hmm.
And so I've got some big projects with that. We're working on a lot of stuff for it. But otherwise, hopefully as soon as I'm, done with some of that, I have a piece, a gift for that I've owed a friend for a very long time that I need to finish, a Rorschach brine. And then I'm going to start, kind of playing around with the colors on Alice, kind of figure out a scheme and go from there. And so hopefully if I am excited about enough of it, as I said, I don't own a whole lot. I just own the Army box. I only own the Army box, Dr. Morley, an extra box of the Assault Dudes, and Alice. And then that's all I got there.
That's a pretty good startup, though. That's at least enough for a good 75 points. Especially with Morley there, you could bring in any type of Merc unit. God, man, that's not a bad setup for 75 points, I think.
Yeah, so I decided, that seemed like a good place. There were a lot of cool models that I could grab, and, it's not like the new Warjacks, like, the new Warjack, heavy Warjack kit comes out later in July. So people, they'll be available. But I just grabbed a few things that I figured I would enjoy to paint at least. And once I develop a scheme and figure out how I want to do their basing, I'm just going to go with that. So seeing a 75-point army, I've had my trolls for 5 or 6 years, and I mean I can field a decent amount of the casters, but it's taken 5 or 6 years.
Yeah. Well, at least you're stepping into. At least you're taking a little bit of a break from trolls in the sense that you're gonna embark on a new army, which would be really cool. It's gonna be. I'm really hoping that you document that as well as you're going through and progressing through that army, because I think it'll be really cool to see that.
I'm hoping to, and it's definitely something every year. So it's kind of funny. And Dallas and Brendan Roy and Ron Cruzy all said the same thing to me. They said every year, Devon, you've entered the P3, you've entered a troll.
I'd love to see you enter Alice next year.
So 2019, my goal is to not enter a troll.
Alice, do big Alice.
Well, now if she's a gaming piece, I gotta start focusing on more display stuff for that. So I have some ideas of what I want to do. We'll really see what Mini Crate has to offer, because Mini Crate's been fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
Like the new Iris model that's coming out.
Looks so awesome. I'm upset that she doesn't work for Crucible Guard, because I really wanted to pick that new one up.
Yeah, I mean, I'm still going to pick it up. She definitely doesn't work for Crucible Guard. She definitely doesn't work for Trolls, so I don't get to use it regardless. But, it'll still be cool. But, yeah,
it's an
so
awesome looking model.
100%. So that's where I'm standing at right now. For any of our viewers, like, if you were on the fence about Lock and Load, like, yes, I can say to you that this keynote this year, to me, out of the 4 Lock and Loads I've gone to, felt like number 3.
That's really good. So for me at least, so my goal is next year, depending on what happens with the family situation next year, we might have another kid on the way by that time. But if not, my goal is to try to get the Lock and Load next year. That's really what I'd like to do. It's going to depend on, like I said, like if we have another kid on the way or we just had another kid, then obviously that won't happen. But assuming that there's no kid on the way, I really would like to see myself go to Lock and Load.
I mean, there are so many people that, like, the community is so good that finding somebody to crash with or stay with or just be around in general, it's just easy, Like, you could easily, grab a room with a bunch of people and you'll be fantastic and stuff. So, I will definitely tell people that out of everything I've ever done, number 3, as I said, the keynote for this year was number 3 out of the 4 that I've been to. But absolutely every other aspect of Lock and Load this year was number 1 for me. And it just felt like they really knocked it out of the park with everything.
One quick question about the Iron Arena. Was it 24 hours or was it not 24 hours?
Yep, 24 hours.
Perfect. That's great. Oh, man. That's pretty good. All right, well...
Yep, they never shut it down, so people were doing it all the time.
That's amazing. I mean, I think for an episode, I think this is pretty solid.
Yeah.
I think we had a really good pause episode. I'm really excited. I'm excited for this next year. I told people before, but I'm saying it again. Well, actually, I got a couple announcements really quick if anyone stayed to the end of this, and I'll post it on our Facebook. One is definitely playing Crucible Guard this year, so you will see me with Locke and Silvestro at Nova Open, and if PAX Unplugged has it, maybe the casters will change. Definitely not Silvestro. He is my favorite. And then my goal is actually in September, I'm going to be in Munich, Germany. So I know we have a couple of German listeners. If any of you guys live in Munich in the middle of September and you tell me that you want to play games, I will find a way to pack some of my Crucible Guard models, bring them over the pond to play in Germany.
So, yeah, that's awesome. I will definitely say that, as I said, I don't know much of the casters and stuff because I kind of grabbed them last minute, but I think it's Gerhardt.
Gerhardt, yeah.
Gerhardt. That's exactly who I'm interested in. And as soon as that caster releases, because they did not have that caster there, I'm pretty sure that will be in my pairing.
Nice. He is awesome. I don't know who my second caster will be at the end of the day. I really like all of them. Lucas, I'm most curious about because he's my least excited, but I think there's a lot to unlock with him.
Lucas was there.
I know. I almost told you to get him, but I restrained myself. I'm just going back and forth if I'm going to like him or not. I think he's going to be an October release, so we'll see.
Oh, we will see. But, yeah, so otherwise, I loved it. It was a great event, and, I'm excited to try out. As I said, I have Sinestro. I did not pick up Block. I picked Block up for a bunch of people, but I just, wanted to focus on one caster. And as I said, Gerhardt seemed really interesting for me. So I was like, you know what? Like, I'm not going to buy too much where, I have another room full of models that are basically sitting, sad and alone.
Mm-hmm. Which makes sense. I mean, for me, I'm going to be unloading my convergence out of my army bag. So at least the next couple months, I can focus on Crucible Guard.
Because you already unloaded your Signar.
I unloaded my Signar out of there. So Crucible Guard not being sold at all. I mean, sorry, Convergence not being sold at all, but putting it to the side for right now so I can focus on the new hotness that I'm really excited about.
Hell yeah. But I think we call this cast a wrap.
All right, sounds good. Everyone, I want to thank you guys very much for listening to another episode of Turn Extension. Have a good one.
See you, everybody.